Skywalker Ranch and Seinfeld Deck on ET.
Security at U.S. airports tested and found wanting. Undercover agents repeatedly sneak onto airplanes without even an ID. Dole for president? Elizabeth says she will test the waters to see if the money's there. And poison chemicals in the clean room. Eye on America investigates charges that making computer chips could threaten your life.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. New questions about the security and safety of the U.S. flying public landed hard today on Capitol Hill. Stranded passengers left high and dry and treated rudely by airlines this winter vented their rage. More about that in a moment. First, there is new and disturbing evidence about how easy it is to breach security at major U.S. airports. As Bob Orr reports, today's airport security, supposedly airtight, seems more like a fly-by-night operation.
The mission for federal agents: crack the security system designed to keep intruders off America's airplanes. Mission accomplished. Agents working for the Department of Transportation's Inspector General targeted 4 major U.S. airports in Miami, Salt Lake City, San Francisco, and Honolulu. Without displaying identification, agents sneaked through supposedly secure doors and entered off-limit airport areas 46 times. And on 51 occasions, they boarded jetliners without being challenged. In a hearing today on Capitol Hill, the Inspector General's office said the FAA needs to close the security loopholes.
They need to do more tests, broader tests, more often, and be more aggressive in their activities.
In turn, the FAA blamed airports, airlines, and their employees for a lack of vigilance. In a stern letter, FAA Security Chief Cathal Flynn warned airport operators to strengthen security or, quote, it will be necessary to remove the demonstrated vulnerability by guarding the individual aircraft.
There's no way he's going to pay security guards to stand at every airplane door.
Frank McGuire, like many aviation analysts, says perfect security is impossible, and no measure proposed by the FAA would prevent a professional terrorist from infiltrating an airport.
You know what a real pro would do? Go down to the employment office, get a job at minimum wage, get a job, wait 3 or 4 months and see where the holes are. And then in his lunchbox one day, walk in with a bomb.
Increasing security would be expensive and could slow down the U.S. aviation system. The question is, how much are passengers willing to pay to combat a theoretical threat to America's skies? Bob Orr, CBS News, Washington.
Now about airline passengers flying into a rage today. They gave Congress an earful about canceled flights, little help or information from the airlines, and in one notorious incident, being forced to sit for many hours aboard Northwest Airlines planes stuck on the runway in Detroit in January. 2 who were there had this to say.
We were total time on the tarmac 7.5 hours. Total time on the aircraft itself was 9.5 hours.
One gentleman at about the 5-hour mark just wanted off the plane. He couldn't stand it anymore, and he was immediately read his rights that there would be someone at the gate to arrest him if he did not calm down. That encouraged us that maybe there was actually someone at the gate, and we might get there someday, even if only to be arrested.
High above Capitol Hill and the complaints of airliner passengers, sky troubles tonight of another sort. NASA announced it will send a space shuttle crew up in late September or October for special emergency repairs on the $2 billion Hubble Space Telescope. 3 of the Hubble's 6 stabilizing gyroscopes are shot. One more failure, and it can't work to keep taking those remarkable snapshots of the universe. There are new developments tonight in the explosive scandal over alleged nuclear espionage by China. There's word tonight Chinese agents may have been targeting another top-secret U.S. weapons laboratory. CBS's Cheryl Atkinson has the latest details. Cheryl?
Dan, CBS News has learned there is yet another top-secret ongoing investigation about Chinese nuclear espionage. This case involves the theft of information about America's neutron weapons program from the Lawrence Livermore Weapons Lab in California. Neutron bombs are highly controversial weapons designed to destroy people, but not buildings. The U.S. has conducted tests, but there are no neutron weapons in the U.S. military arsenal. This is distinct from the case we've been reporting involving stolen secrets from Los Alamos Weapons Lab and America's W-88 nuclear warhead. The neutron weapons case has been under investigation for several years and remains active and unsolved. Sources tell us it's further proof of China's aggressive and successful espionage targeting America's nuclear weapons labs. Dan?
Cheryl, has anyone been apprehended or prosecuted for this?
In this case, they've never had enough evidence to prosecute anybody, and that's what worries so many people, that whoever is responsible may still be working at the labs today.
Cheryl Atkinson in Washington, thanks. This building spy and espionage controversy is dogging President Clinton, who's in Guatemala tonight for what's called a Central America Summit. CBS News White House correspondent Bill Plant is traveling with the president. Bill?
Dan, the debate over those leaks has reached all the way down here to Central America. A senior administration official tells CBS News tonight that not only China, but many other nations also got U.S. nuclear secrets. Republicans charge that the administration was slow to fix the problem, which allowed China to build miniature nuclear warheads. Several Republican presidential candidates have called for the resignation of the National Security Advisor. But National Security Advisor Berger's response is that it was this administration that fixed the problem, the implication being that the leaks were from previous Republican administrations. The White House sees this the way it sees most criticism, as a political attack, the Republicans looking for a wedge issue. And with China's vice premier due to visit the U.S. next month, the issue of who let the nation's nuclear secrets get away is only likely to intensify. Dan?
Bill Plant, traveling with the president in Guatemala. In the Balkans tonight, in what used to be Yugoslavia, U.S. envoy Richard Holbrooke reportedly has declared it a, quote, complete failure. His attempt to convince Serbian dictator Milosevic to accept the Kosovo peace plan. Holbrooke said he's returning now to Washington to brief Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. Still to come on the CBS Evening News, parents jailed by the truant officer. A different Dole on the campaign money-raising trail. And preserving American democracy under glass.
It's acid. It burns. It travels up.
Like a fire in my chest.
A terrible taste in my throat.
If heartburn has you by the throat, you may have the toughest heartburn. Acid reflux. For this, doctors recommend Gaviscon. Only regular Gaviscon forms a soothing, protective barrier to help keep stomach acid down, where it belongs. Mylanta can't, Pepsidase C can't. Only Gaviscon can.
Better.
Relief.
Sleep.
When heartburn has you by the throat, get Gaviscon.
Sorry I'm late. I was at my doctor, and... Oh, did you ask her about the things you've been reading about menopause? I did. She said...
It's important to consider menopause and the consequences of its associated estrogen loss.
You mean like hot flashes? Hot flashes and night sweats, but other things, too, like vaginal dryness. It can interfere with intimacy.
And osteoporosis. I know that menopause increases our risk for fractures.
Dr. Hartman also said...
Studies show that menopause contributes to heart disease in women. Additional ongoing studies are investigating the connection between menopause and Alzheimer's disease, colon cancer, blindness, and tooth loss.
I had no idea.
My doctor and I decided to stick with the program we've agreed on for years.
I should speak to my doctor.
When considering menopause, consider the entire body of evidence. Speak to your doctor about what you can do to help protect your health during and after menopause.
On the CBS News Campaign 2000 watch, Republican Elizabeth Dole today joined the slow-speed crowd of hopefuls to announce how they're going to announce, maybe, a bid to be president. So what's with this inch-by-inch approach to getting on the campaign trail? CBS's Phil Jones reports, to follow the story, you need to follow the dollar.
To the music from Top Gun, Elizabeth Dole emerged to announce she will officially explore gunning for the top job, President of the United States. A Dole supporter was used to subtly raise the issue of presidential character.
We need you as president so that when I turn on my television, I can say to my children, see, you need to be just like that.
Dole supporters believe the Clinton sex and ethics mess has made it possible for a woman to be elected president. Dole herself hinted at the scandal in a campaign ad.
Yes, we've been let down, and by people we should have been able to look up to.
Today, Mrs. Dole bragged about her experience serving 5 presidents, but claimed she is not a politician. Her husband, the presidential nominee last time, was back in Washington at a hearing. She never mentioned him as she talked about herself and the issues.
It's time for tax relief. I think our defense budget is too low.
But before her solutions on these matters, there are more immediate issues for Dole.
And, you know, this is real important. We've got to raise that money. That's a big chore now. A lot of money to raise by the end of the year.
In fact, 6 Republicans are holding off formally announcing their candidacies while claiming to look for voters. They're really looking for donors. Only 3 have already decided to run. Rich man Steve Forbes will be his own donor. As for the Democrats, Vice President Gore and former Senator Bill Bradley are running, just not formally. Any candidate hoping to win the nomination will have to raise about $25 million by the end of the year. Bill Jones, CBS News, Washington.
With that as background, you may want to note that the Presidential Campaign 2000 Iowa caucuses, now scheduled for February 7th, are still 334 days away, and it's 608 days to the actual presidential election day. Snow removal is the order of the day in much of the Midwest and East after a sneak, heavy, late winter storm. Washington, D.C. was a picture of whiteness from 8 inches of snow, the heaviest downfall there in 3 years. School children were told to stay home. In Rochester, New York, buried under 3 feet of snow, children were back in school for the first time in a week.
Having kids is an education. Having 3 is a master's in economics. 1 is never enough of anything. Good thing there's Puffs Advanced. 1 can do the job of 2 of that other national brand because it's twice as strong. So you can use it every day for just about everything. And there's no lotion in this Puffs. Really strong? Works hard every day? Sound like someone you know? Puffs Advanced. Just like you, 1 can do the job of 2.
Problem?
The doctor says my cholesterol's still too high.
What about diet and exercise?
They didn't do enough.
So?
He suggested adding Lipitor.
Lipitor, the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet was proven to lower bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%.
He said over 4 million people have started taking Lipitor to lower their cholesterol.
Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant.
There'll be blood tests to check for liver problems.
Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as these may be signs of serious side effects.
You take Lipitor once a day.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information on Lipitor and call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Well?
Lipitor did it. My cholesterol's way down.
Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
How safe are you from heart disease? Will your lifestyle put you in harm's way? Or could bacteria be doing secret destructive damage to your health?
Tomorrow.
On This Morning.
A Pennsylvania mother of 7 is paying a tough penalty for the behavior of 1 of her children. She's behind bars, the result of a first-of-its-kind drive to keep kids from skipping school. CBS's Diana Olick has more on this controversial crackdown.
Helen Newton has 7 children and no criminal record.
I've never had any trouble with the law, never.
So when you walked into prison,
I was scared to death.
But she's been locked up in prison for a week now because her 14-year-old daughter chronically skipped school.
It's not like I didn't know, and it's not like I wasn't doing anything. I knew this was a problem.
So did the school, and last summer they summoned her and dozens of other parents of truants to a meeting and announced a Get Tough program on truancy. For the first time in the nation, an entire school district told parents to get their kids to school or else.
We have some preliminary data that actually tells us that it is working.
School Superintendent John Williams is proud of the vast social services the program also offers, but is critical of parents like Helen Newton.
She did not see to it that her child returned to school, and she failed to take advantage of any of these supports, essentially thumbed her nose at the system.
And that's why she's in jail.
And I'm separated from all my children now. And for what? For trying. I really did. I feel like I, as her mother, did everything I could for her to go to school.
But Helen did not meet with counselors nor show up when summoned to the district magistrate. Judge Chester Harhut, who devised the program, felt she and 2 other parents like her should be punished.
Truancy is only a symptom of, I believe, of what's going on in the entire family.
Truancy is one of the oldest problems around, but officials here believe it may be the cause of some new ones, rising crime and drug use in this city. And that's why they say truancy can no longer be just the school's responsibility.
I honestly believe all of these problems are not only school problems and not only court problems, they're community problems.
Still, Helen Newton doesn't believe sitting in jail for 2 weeks will solve anything.
Short of taking her out to the van, kicking and screaming and naked, if that's what I got to do to get to school to keep from coming in here again, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do.
If not, the judge says he'll put the daughter in foster care or juvenile detention. And this mother who lost her freedom could also lose her child. Diana Olick, CBS News, Scranton, Pennsylvania.
The world champion New York Yankees are without their manager, Joe Torre, tonight. The 58-year-old Torre left spring training to begin immediate treatment for prostate cancer. It was discovered during tests instituted by the team after Yankees slugger Darryl Strawberry was diagnosed with colon cancer last fall. Now, straight ahead here on CBS, our Eye on America investigation into possible cancer clusters in the workplace.
That must be a fascinating article.
You think?
But now it's time to feed the kitties. Anybody hungry?
I am.
Cats know what they want. Whiskas. What cats want.
Gotcha.
I was driving across country on the way to my first job, just out of college. I had hardly any money. Yeah, that's when my car starts making this weird noise. I saw a Firestone store with MasterCare car service. So I had them check it out, and guess what? They found the problem and even suggested a way to fix it that saved me money when I needed it most. I'll never forget that.
Let's go. Load them up. MasterCare means we guarantee to fix it right or your money back.
MasterCare at Firestone. Just what your car needs.
Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
Great news about low-fat food at Boston Market. A delicious meal with our rotisserie turkey, steamed vegetables, and garlic dill new potatoes has less than 4 grams of fat, and it's just $4.99 for a limited time. So take Boston Market home tonight.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of smokers have quit with Nicoderm CQ. Why? Because it helps calm your cravings with 3 steps to help bring you closer to your goal. And with Nicoderm CQ, you don't have to take some new drug or wait to get a prescription from the doctor. After all, you want to quit smoking, not make an appointment to quit smoking. Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
Tonight on 60 Minutes 2. Why hasn't Warren Beatty said much about love, fame, or his famous sister? Because he hasn't been on 60 Minutes 2, but he will be tonight.
Tonight, part 1 of a Hard News Eye on America investigation into suspected cancer clusters in the workplace and what is or isn't being done about them. The focus tonight, what may be a dangerous and dirty little secret in the high-tech computer industry clean rooms, as they're called, of California's Silicon Valley. CBS's Sandra Hughes takes you there.
These are my sisters, my older
Growing up in the Silicon Valley, it was a dream come true when 2 Fouché sisters landed jobs with Big Blue. 2 decades later, 50-year-old Linda Fouché says working for IBM may cut her life short. Both she and her sister have cancer.
2 people from your family. 2 girls that worked for IBM. My other sisters didn't work there. And they're fine, the other 2.
Linda's rare skin cancer has spread and she's not working anymore. But for 20 years, she made computer chips in an IBM clean room similar to this one, a sterile environment where dozens of toxic chemicals are used to make the chips.
Where I would go check out a whole cart full of acetones, freons, photoresists, bottles marked with skull and crossbones. I even would ask the gal in the chemical room, gee, are these things safe? You know, oh yeah, we work for IBM, it's safe. You know that.
Like hundreds of other workers in the industry, Linda wore a head-to-toe bunny suit, but experts say the suits are meant to protect the sensitive chips from dust and human contamination, not to protect the employees. After working in the clean room for only a year, Linda says she not only became sterile, but very ill as well.
Your eyes would water, your nose would run. I had skin rashes.
When Linda Fouché got sick, she says IBM told her the problem wasn't in the clean room, it was in her head, and that she needed to see a psychiatrist. CBS News obtained a letter from that psychiatrist that says Miss Fouché has primarily a chronic medical illness from exposure to toxic substances in her work environment at IBM Corporation.
Who do you hold responsible for your cancer?
I hold the chemical companies. I hold IBM, the industry, for not telling people.
Lee Leth blames Big Blue, too. The 56-year-old former IBM engineer often inspected the clean rooms as part of his job.
My wife noted that I came home several times with acid holes in my shirt. Didn't think anything of it at the time till we started having this particular problem.
The problem is bone cancer that has left the once strong and tall Leth 6 inches shorter and unable to walk without crutches.
I don't want to see other people facing this problem that I'm having. It's a miserable, terrible, painful illness.
Leth and Fouché are among 130 former employees and surviving relatives who are suing IBM, claiming the chemicals used there gave workers cancer. IBM refused to comment on camera, instead telling CBS News, "We do not believe that any of the illnesses that people claim they contracted while working at IBM were the result of working at IBM." That claim doesn't surprise Dr. Joe Ledoux, an occupational health specialist who has studied the semiconductor industry for 30 years.
The workers were getting very high levels of exposure, and we're not being told. And I believe that's still true today in many of these plants.
Those levels don't exceed government standards, but the trouble is no one knows if they're enough to cause cancer because so far no one's been able to investigate. In San Jose, California, this is Sandra Hughes for Eye on America.
Tomorrow, we follow up on this. We focus on why there is no investigation of the potential health risk and who is responsible. Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a multi-million-dollar new box for our nation's most valuable documents.
In clinical studies, a leading pain medicine significantly reduced minor arthritis pain, increasing range of motion and flexibility. But the medicine in these studies wasn't a pill. It was Bengay. And now, when you use ultra-strength Bengay for your aches and pains, you get the heating power of 3 pain relievers. Ultra-strength Bengay, medicine for your moving parts.
And now, try new Bengay SPA with sight-penetrating action and a light, fresh scent.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and look natural? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Brush in and in 5 minutes, gray is gone.
No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
The days of wearing bulky protective undergarments are over, all because of a revolutionary new product from Depend. Introducing disposable protective underwear. It combines a discreet, sure fit with a built-in super absorbent panel. It's the closest thing to regular underwear you can buy. So slim fitting, all that shows is your confidence. It's your life. Live it the way you want. New Depend protective underwear.
Get all you want out of life with Depend. I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through.
Have you seen Transitions lenses lately? Indoors, the changing tint is clearer. Outdoors, they're the darkest Transitions lenses ever. For all-day comfort and convenience, Transitions lenses, right in any light.
I'll be seeing you.
Visit our website or call 1-877-4-TRANSITIONS.
For only the third time in its 96-year history, Crayola is changing the name of a crayon. Indian Red is coming out of the box and fading from history. They say children thought it was the skin color of American Indians rather than a pigment found near India. Now let's talk about national treasures. The Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights were all written more than 200 years ago in ink on parchment. Preserving them is a technical as well as a political challenge. CBS's Eric Ingberg looks at the state of our nation's founding documents and what's being done to keep them from ever fading.
There's never been a doubt who the real stars of American democracy are. They live in glass boxes here at the National Archives.
I think it gives you goosebumps.
Every year, 1 million+ people file past the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights.
And I think it's really cool to see these documents, and it's like so old.
But time is not kind to ink and parchment. The experts knew that much 50 years ago when they built glass cases for the historic documents. Inside the 3-layer cases, a glass middle sits right on top of the page. It's all sealed in a bronze frame, soldered with lead, and filled with helium. It looked like a permanent home, but wasn't.
We're starting to see changes in the glass. We have deteriorating glass directly in contact with the parchment.
A NASA-built camera periodically shooting ultra close-ups of the documents picked up the problem.
Now I'm right over the J of John Hancock.
Once the images are fed into his computer...
This is an image from 1995. This is an image we took about 2 weeks ago.
Physicist Mark Ormsby can compare them to older pictures of the same spot.
You can see this white area here. That's glass deterioration.
Not only is the glass slowly breaking down, the camera has spotted one patch in the Constitution where the ink has actually come off.
We're able to see that the ink is actually lifted up from the surface a little bit at that area.
Those discoveries, while not an immediate threat to the historic papers, spurred a quest to build new super protective cases.
So that's immediately a design change.
The mission was handed to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the government's high-precision laboratory.
Probably take another 50 thousandths off that anyway.
The case needed to be airtight, but unlike the present system, it had to have a way to get inside.
When the archives came to you and said, we would like you to build these cases, what was your reaction?
Well, pure panic.
Nevertheless, they succeeded in building an impressive test model. Turn a few bolts.
Let's try it.
And the case opens, so the papers can be examined and the glass replaced. The documents rest on a platform. Nothing touches them but small plastic retaining clips. The engineers will run a series of torture tests on the prototype. Then in this shop, they'll start building 9 cases for the archives display. After spending $5 million and using every high-tech idea they could find, they hope they build a case as enduring as the documents that go inside. Eric Ingberg, CBS News, Washington.
And that's part of our world. Later tonight here on CBS, and we hope you make an appointment to see it, this week's edition of 60 Minutes 2. Controversial, driven, and intensely private, Warren Beatty has rarely talked about love, fame, or family until now. Also, last week, Morley Safer showed why, even though this man can't do simple multiplication, he is a genius. Tonight, you'll see why his story has become a 60 Minutes classic. 60 Minutes 2 at 9 o'clock, 8 Central Time. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. I'll see you later on 60 Minutes 2.
For news 24 hours a day.